could not make it this evening, and we'll make sure that we have it on our website for people to check out later. Okay, so welcome. My name is Christine Garcia. Hopefully you came. We had a meeting, it was over a month ago. We did have a virtual meeting just like this. I know orchestra wasn't necessarily the group I had added into that meeting, but now we're ready to talk a little bit more about all of our students and several goals that I have with us tonight, which is answering some questions for you and helping you better understand from my perspective how we're ready to move forward with hybrid learning, hybrid extracurricular, and some things that we need you as parent boosters of our music organization. So I do have a slide presentation, and I'm going to start with that right now as people are still adding to the chat who you are and who your child is in our program. So I am grabbing the right event. There we go. And let's see here if I can do all this stuff correctly. Hopefully you're looking at my screen right now that says Sahuarita High School Fall 2020 Hybrid. So welcome again. Thank you for taking a little time, and we will be respectful of your Tuesday evening. I wanted to talk a little bit about our leadership of our program and of our school side of it. On our adult school side of leadership, myself, Christine Garcia, I'm the director of music for our site. I am also our fine arts department head, and I work with a team of music teachers throughout our district, and I am also pleased to welcome Miss Dahl, who is one of our music teachers in the district and now has a freshman in our program. So didn't know you're getting called on tonight. Thanks for joining us. I would like to, I know Thomas Cervenka is here with us this evening. He will be leading a part of our meeting here in a bit, and at that time I'll ask him to feel free to introduce himself in more in-depth knowledge. He writes drill for our program. He is the assistant for basically all of our music moving parts. He is a leader in saxophone. Your kid is looking for something to excel in and they're a saxophonist, reach out to him. He definitely has some room in his studio for private lessons. He leads our percussion ensemble. We have a couple of gentlemen that are working with that as well. They are not here in this meeting tonight. Joe, who is a University of Arizona student studying to be a music educator, and he is from Sierra Vista. And then Dr. Kevin Cross, who, yes, has a doctorate in percussion performance from the University of Arizona. We have both of those gentlemen working with our program, and during the winter time, Thomas leads up that particular group with those two and a few others. Also not joining us here this evening is our flag coaches, Carolina and Audrey. Those two ladies are both University of Arizona students as well. They march with the Pride of Arizona. They are, Carolina is a hometown girl. She is from Tucson, Arizona, so she's definitely one of our locals to Arizona. Audrey is from Tennessee, so she is an out-of-state person, but they work well together, and they are our auxiliary team. Then we have Ryan Blake, who, like Thomas Cervenka, is a Sahuarita High School graduate from a couple years ago. Ryan went to college in California. He has a degree that's also in music, and he helps us with winds. His primary expertise, he loves jazz, and he definitely is a brass player. So if you are someone looking for excelling for your students in percussion and saxophone, in high brass techniques, there are people right here within our own organization you can reach out to about being parts of their studios, so that maybe if you're wanting your child to get some private lessons, you can. Also this evening, we will take a little time to talk about some of our other areas of leadership, and this has a lot to do with you as the parents. You as the parents really make all the difference in our success. So we did have our elections. Thank you to everyone who took time to vote virtually on a Google slide form. And our president is Kirsten Sparks. Second time. We need to give her a break after this. I hope she's doing a wonderful job, but we don't want to burn anybody out. We have 3 positions of vice presidents, and we're going to talk about these people as well later as we go through. and they'll have a chance to talk about their committees, plus how to get you to certain spots to sign up now, knowing you aren't in charge of anything, but people that you can work with. So these are all awesome people to work with. Emily Allen, Brenda Laura, Michelle Walton. Those are our vice presidents of different activities for our organization. Our secretary, Adriana Estrada. Our treasurer, returning again, Shannon Cornaby. And then our communications officer, returning again, Karina Varner. And yes, Brenda Laura is returning again as well. So we have several people who are continuing to work with us. So we have some excellent leadership. I know Thomas and I were talking about this. This group has some great momentum, great foresight, and you will not be disappointed to work with this group of booster elected officers. What I want to get right to is some of the things that directly affect why I invited you to come to our meeting tonight. And it has a lot to do with the fact that we moved back into hybrid this week for middle school and high school, which also is a return to our co-curricular for our programs. All of my classes, and if you're here, it's because you have a child in one of my classes, all of my classes are co-curricular, which means that we work during the school day and we can work outside of the school. And those are both graded events during the day and in the evening. I like to think that all of our students are not here because they want to be a professional musician of some type or have degrees in music, but because they just enjoy playing their instrument. Just like sports, just like other activities, it's something that they enjoy, and it's an awesome opportunity to have an elective in something that you can excel in and to teach you not just music skills, but life skills. And so I want to make sure that you're aware that I try to teach these things to our students. And in all cases, being a part of a high school performing arts class, this is a job. This is your first job in a way. So there's lots of things we want to do because we have moving parts that are during the school day and in the evenings and on the weekends. And this year being very different, but at the same time, starting to slowly ease back into all those moving parts. Please make sure your child knows that just like for you, when you have a job, if you don't call in, there's consequences. If you don't report for work, there are consequences. In a lot of ways, our not reporting or showing up is directly effective of their grade. It also can affect the whole team, especially as we finally get to start moving back into playing music with other people, performing flag routines with other people in class and outside and in the evenings. We want to make sure that if there is any reason that we are not going to be present, that we actually utilize a system very similar to a real job. Students can call in, and in the high school, I encourage them to do it, okay? You can as the parent, that's fine, if that's what you want to do, but I'm definitely comfortable with saying let the student be in charge of this, and you just prompt them at home, hey, if this is happening, make sure you follow through on what you're supposed to do. So I prefer that they either call in, they send an email, they can text on Remind. We did ask everybody to join Remind. It's also on our website. It's also in their syllabus. And when they come back in person, you're going to be seeing some of that communication more about how to utilize the in-person syllabus, which I let them know is now available in their Google Classroom. And then also, those should be used for things like they need to arrive late or leave early from a non-school time practice. During the school day, we follow the school policies and you turn it into the front office. I appreciate in the past parents that do take a little extra step and email me directly, hey, we have orthodontist today, my child's not going to be at school. Wow, thank you for letting me know. Usually I just respond and say, make sure you tell Pat in the attendance office because she's the one who logs it, and then you turn those notes into her. So I'm mainly speaking for our co-curricular times, this part of our communications. Just like in a lot of our jobs and a lot of our life skills, we want to talk about what time do you show up for an event, okay? And meaning mainly for our non-school time stuff. So just as the slide says, you want to arrive early and we will dismiss on time. For example, practice that is from 6 to 8 p.m., a student should be exiting the vehicle probably by 5:50 so that they have a few minutes to get to exactly where on campus they need to be. They can get their things out and they're set up ready to go, so that at 6 o'clock, then we say, okay, let's begin. Those are important things, knowing how long your child takes to set up their stuff. I know every time we've been playing virtually, I'm looking for, if you are a cello parent or a double bass parent, your child plays cello or double bass, oh my goodness, they take forever to set up. It is the slowest thing that even at regional and state level competitions, those students are given extra time for their setup, cello and basses. So we know they just take a little bit longer than everybody else. But know what your child needs to have in order to be set up on time. Okay. Secondly, then, when we dismiss, we make sure we dismiss by the set end time. 8 p.m. is the dismissal time. We're done. Now they pack up and they should head to the curb. With a very shortened marching season and no props, and we are not on the football field, but in places around campus that are closer to the exit points, please make sure that you are there to pick up your child on time, because the students are not going into the classroom at dismissal. They dismiss from that practice spot. They arrive to the practice spot, which we have everybody meeting on the grass outside of the band room to go to different locations. So as we're mainly talking about our co-curricular part right now, please be aware that at dismissal, it shouldn't be, okay, I need to call my mom so they can come pick me up. Oh, parents, please, we've put in long days. Thomas and I both work for the district during the school day as well. And at that point in the evening, we've already been at the school more than 12 hours. So we definitely want to see everybody picked up in a timely fashion and moving off campus. Also, we want to eliminate a lot of the hanging out time right there, because we are still under a health advisory as far as this is considered phasing in, and we need to make sure students are practicing social distancing and that they are able to get home and continue to get cleaned up and make sure that they are being safe. Okay, so please do not allow your child to tell you that they need to stay for an extra half hour or anything like that. We are under strict guidance by Dr. Valenzuela, the superintendent of the school board, of the school district, and our school board, of how we interact. And their guidance comes directly from Pima County. So we need to make sure your child is not hanging around. If anything, and I know Thomas has already had a couple practices with percussion, they're released in maybe 3 to 5 minutes early to make sure that we are staying within that required guideline for our non-school time stuff.
Mrs. Garcia, we have a question in the chat.
Yeah.
If they are in Group B, can they stay after school for practice? And will there be an activity bus this year?
I am not sure on the answer for the activity bus. I would ask that you email Chip Stratton. Okay, he's the athletic director. He's in charge of extracurricular transportation. I will also ask that question and see if I can get an answer, but feel free to take it yourself. I'm not aware if they're doing extracurricular activity buses, but if your child is in group cohort B, and I know Flags Creative Movement, you are practicing on Thursdays at 4 o'clock, yes, your child should just plan to stay after school. I'm writing down activity bus right now.
Can Glenna speak to that?
Is Glenna here? Glenna Campbell, who is one of our seniors parents. Glenna is also one of the head people for transportation for the district. Glenna, are you able to answer that for us at all?
Yes, I am. We will have activity buses. They're going to be starting on Thursday.
How cool that we have so many resources in our parent support. I just wanted to throw that out there. That's just awesome, guys.
It is nice having everybody here.
Yes. And now the phone is ringing in the background at my house. I apologize. And I'm not going to go find it. So the other thing then, of course, is dress for the activity. Tennis shoes, water, exercise clothes, no jeans. We ask always that students choose to wear comfortable moving clothes. I know some of our children think jeans are comfortable, but they are not good activity wear. Okay, so please ask them to wear comfortable shorts. Everyone should be practicing social distancing and wearing a mask. We will be providing some bell covers. We're going to talk a little bit about bell cover things, other options too, for brass players to get a second bell cover. And then students should bring their own music. We should not be sharing music. Everyone should be their own space. When we set them up, and both percussion and guard have already been showing up to extracurricular rehearsals, we have them spread out. I know guard doesn't have music, they don't have a paper in front of them, but for percussion, there is no stand sharing. For orchestra, there is no stand sharing this year. Everybody is on their own stand, which I know for orchestra is a big pain in the butt because you have your bow in one hand, you have your instrument in the other, and now how do you turn a page and not drop the bow or not stop playing? That's one of the main reasons orchestra does stand sharing. But you know what? We want to be with your children and we want to be safe. So we're going to keep everybody on their own stand. Everybody must carry their own music. Flags, we are not going to share. Everybody has their one issued flag. That is their main flag. Even when we get to the point of performance flags, we will then issue everybody a school flag bag that they keep their items inside that bag and they don't share. Okay? Percussion, same thing. Sticks. You need your own sticks. And it's in our syllabi since the beginning of the year, and I have another slide we'll talk about those things, but they need their own snare, mallet, and timpani sticks. And I know that can be a little pricey, but if your child does not have these things with them, then we cannot have them participating fully. So everybody does have to come with their own water. That is really important because we're not going to have access to water in our extracurricular times. So please be aware of those things. And the same thing on Mondays for Group A. I know some of our students are coming from a distance. For the wind players that are having night practice, if you are in cohort A, yes. Just if you want to stay after, and I know it's a little bit of time between the two, but yes. For someone that's driving more than 20 minutes from their house, if they need to stay after in order to be there on time for 6 p.m., that's totally fine. All right, my next slide is needs for our classroom. So kind of tipping a little bit back into the school time, but it bleeds into the evening as well. You can look at your specific classroom. Okay, winds, meaning the band students, flutes, clarinets, saxophones, trumpets, horns, trombone, baritone, tuba. This is what your child needs. They should already have their book. Everybody needs to be for band class on a flip folder and a lyre. We are not going to be using music stands for a while. I need time to get used to sanitizing everything, and we're already going to have chairs and other things. I want to have a fighting chance at getting it under my belt for a couple weeks before we introduce music stands back in for the band students. And then band kids should have a blue band shirt, and if they don't have it, they can buy it their first day back on campus. Percussion, they should have their book. This is new this year, 9-minute drill. We've already been working out of the book since before Labor Day. They also need a black binder. Just a 3-ring, 1-inch black binder is fine. And of course, there is again those sticks that they need, and they should have them in a stick bag. Because again, we don't want everybody touching each other's things. So if you pull everything out of your pencil box and you put it back in your pencil box, it is safely just being used by you, okay? When you have them and they're just out in the open, for one, they run more of a risk of breaking, and they're not cheap, and you lose them and other people picking them up when you drop them. If they're in a bag, it's much safer for the sticks and for your child's safety of not having other people touch them. And of course, percussion, you need that blue shirt. Guard, you need a roll of black electrical tape and a roll of white electrical tape. Between the two, you're only going to spend about $5, but black tape is less than $1 for a roll of black electrical tape at Walmart, and it's about $3 to $4 for a roll of white electrical tape. Do not buy the one that has like all 5 colors in it. We are very specific because we're visual performers that we are only using those 2 colors. It'll be very unusual if we ask you to get any other colored tape. And then of course you need that blue band shirt as well. Orchestra, we've been working out of our book already, Essential Techniques. So that is the book your child will be using. Orchestra will be using music stands, but as I already mentioned, orchestra, you will not be stand sharing. So it's important you bring all your supplies every day, where I know normally there's like etiquette within orchestra people that the one particular, the leader of the stand brings their music and the second chair turns the pages. Everybody must have their own music. Everybody will use a stand, and I will sanitize between classrooms for the orchestra students. Every orchestra student must have their own rosin, and I'll tell you, rosin is something that's not very expensive. $2 to $3 depending on what you play. Double bass rosin can be a little more expensive because you tend to buy this big circular rock of rosin, but you can go with the smaller one, and we can work on how to make sure that that rosin is not breaking the hairs because it's a little more narrow. But a box of rosin, $2 to $3, okay? But I don't want students sharing the rosin. And we tend to have rosining parties in orchestra, and someone's rosining, and then the stand partner takes it and they're rosining. These are just some of those norms that need to go away for a while, okay? So spending $2 or $3 for a brick of rosin is huge for safety and sanitary purposes right now. Rock stop, that is for cellos and basses. You will need it, although when we're in our classroom, it's carpet floor. It's not that big a deal, but for all the other occasions when we leave and go to a concrete floor or to a wood floor, you do need that rock stop. Make sure you buy yourself one. And again, orchestra needs a binder. Jazz band needs a binder, and all binders, I'm saying, should be a 1-inch binder, 3-ring binder, and page protectors, and put all that music in those sleeves is a great way to go. Things that I would like anyone who's willing to make donations to consider is we always need Kleenex. Okay, right now I have about 5 or 6 boxes in the room. Wipes and hand sanitizing wipes can be all, you go to the grocery store right now, it's hard to get them. But yes, we could use some because I know the school is providing them, but we are going to be using them a lot because we are co-curricular. And we are already, with just last week, Wednesday, Thursday, we saw how much of our initial supplies we used with just 2 groups coming in for extracurriculars. Oops, I'm hitting buttons. Batteries, mainly 9-volt batteries, but we do have a strong need, and Thomas, let me know if I'm wrong on this, but AA's mainly, or AAA's for some of our other devices?
AA's. We don't use AAA's hardly at all.
So 9 volts and AA's are a nice donation if you want to. We go through a lot of those. Our metronomes, which are used in every one of these classes, even the flag class, to keep tempos going, those use 9-volt batteries, okay? And then, of course, your child needs masks. And if you're someone who's been making masks, if you want to donate some masks, you're welcome to. The school does provide us with some throwaway ones, but then a child can take a mask, have some extra if you're wanting to, but make sure everyone has some of those. And these are mainly supplies that I'm saying if you can donate, do it. But of course, everyone wears a mask for class. Sweatshirts. Tonight is the last order for the sweatshirts. So, oops, what did I do? I'm hitting buttons. What? No. There's not going back. Okay, so on your child's Google Classroom, it has the sweatshirt order, and Cervenka, thank you. Just put that in the chat. You're welcome to order one as well if you want. It's $33. I had put in here that it's due by the 16th. The students will pay the front office. This is not a booster thing, but it does say Sahuarita Performing Arts. And I'll click to that screen for a minute. It's a super simple one to fill out, kind of a darker gray. It's a little bit of a silky material. It has pockets and a hood. And then at the top it says 2020, 2021. It will have the white lettering in here as well to help pop, because we tend to use the blue, gold, and white in our letterings. Sarita, and then it says performing arts. So it speaks to all of our students that are in our performing arts. First name, last name, email, and what size. If you need larger than a 2X, fill out the form and maybe next to your last name put, can I get a 2X or a 3X instead of a 2X, if that's a situation. I do need these in by today. They don't have to be paid for by today, but we do need them in by today. So feel free to do that even while we're in this meeting right now. And is there any questions about this particular slide?
Mrs. Garcia, Mrs. Walton had a question. If my son has 2 instruments, can he leave one at school?
Yes, we can do that. While we're in hybrid, I'm a little cautious of how much to leave. Like if you're bringing your junky one, you're still playing 2 days in class at school. I know we're asking students then to play 2 days at home, 30 minutes each day. And on Wednesdays, they have their sight reading factory, or if they're in jazz band, they have a scale test. So they are playing for a test on a Wednesday, which I would think I'd want to sound good on my best instrument I have. I'll leave it up to you for the nature of bringing things back and forth. While we're in hybrid, I've told the students in our meetings that, for example, Thursday, Friday, if they bring it Thursday morning, they can leave it in the room. They take it home Friday night. That's fine to leave it overnight for their hybrid day. Same thing with Monday to Tuesday. Monday to Tuesday hybrid, especially with Monday night marching practice for the next 2 weeks for the winds, that would be okay because it's late when we're done. The band blue shirt, the students need to, we had it initially when we did our band camp thing a long time ago, but for that, I will ask them in person on Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. They just need to bring the money in and pay for the shirt. That is an in-stock item that we keep, is our blue band shirt. So you can, especially if your child outgrows it, then they just buy another one. So it's kind of like from our music store, okay? So they pay the front office for the blue band shirt and they come down. The sweatshirts being $33, we're not ordering any extras. We will only fill the order of who asks for one. Does that make sense, Jamie Wash? Hopefully. So front office is where you pay. For the sweatshirt, you pay that in the front office as well. For both of those items that you may be buying right now, those items you can pay with a debit card, cash, or a check. If you do a check, no matter what site your child goes to, it should be made out to SUSC 30 for Sahuarita Unified School District. It doesn't matter what site you're at, every place wants it that way. We have ordered PPE for the question in the chat. The district has ordered PPE for our wind players. And we're going to get to as far as tomorrow night stuff in the next slide. But for school time on day 1, Thursday, and on day 1, Monday, we will not play in class. We're going to go over in-person procedures. We're going to talk about how we flow through our room, where sanitizing stations are in our room, because they're all there, what things that they need to know, and some get to know you stuff in person. They've seen each other the way you're seeing this tonight, but they also want to get to know each other a little bit more. So we'll be doing things that on the first 2 days that your child is in, the first day for cohort B and then for A, regular mask, no problem. As I was telling the students, depending on the size of their group, because the cohorts, although it's divided evenly, some classes, for example, percussion class, in one class there is 5, and then in the alphabet, and then the rest of them, 10 of them, are in the other cohort. So thank goodness percussion can all wear a standard mask, and they don't need a wind mask, and only the wind players have to worry about this. Guard, orchestra, percussion, standard mask. But for the wind players, we do have the ones on order for you, and it is the one that's going to allow you to play and make your mouthpiece go through in between some pockets of material. Until those come in, when we do play on Friday, on Tuesday, we will set up outside. We will make sure we are more than 6 feet apart. So we will set up outside more than 6 feet apart, and we will play outside on the lawn. Okay? So that we're able to practice social distancing and be outside for that playing until the masks come in. When the masks come in, we are able then to move inside for playing. If your child is in one of those lucky groups that there's only maybe 6 kids or 7 kids in their WIND class just because of where the alphabet fell for the that particular group, then we can set them up inside and space them out and it'll work. But we can't have too many kids in the room more than 6 feet apart before we just run out of space. And so that's why we can play outside and set up spatially until those masks come in. Once the masks come in, we can shorten the distance a little bit from student to student. Okay? All right. Anything else for what supplies they need for their classrooms and things that if you want the sweatshirt for your child or for yourself to put that order in tonight, do it now while we're here. All right. This one, orchestra, you can tune out for 5 minutes, okay? And then mentally come back in. If you're an orchestra parent, this doesn't pertain to you. I put in here, and I apologize, and thank you for a couple parents are like, is it from this time or this time? I did some cut and pasting and copying and realized I was maybe in too big of a hurry. I do teach 6 periods, so I don't have a planning period, so to say, and every class is different. The 2 band classes are similar, 1st and 4th, but otherwise I have all different preps. And if you talk to your child's math teacher, they probably teach only 2 separate subjects in their 5 periods that they teach. So I'm in a little bit of a different situation as a lot of our elective teachers are. There might be every class is a completely different subject. So I apologize for my haste in some of those that I sent out. So WINDs, band players, you are coming in the next 2 Monday nights, 6 to 8. If your child is a rookie, that means they are new to high school, to Sahuarita High School. They are here on Wednesdays, 6 to 7:30, the next 3 Wednesday nights. Percussion, Wednesdays, the next 3 Wednesdays, just as they did last week, 5:30 to 7:30. So you'll notice rookies will end at the same time as percussion, but we have staggered the starts and they will not be in the same locations so that we can maintain social distancing. If your child is a rookie and a percussionist, they go to percussion the whole time. Lessons, we are continuing our work with Dr. Kevin Cross on the school days. When your child is in cohort A, your child is in person, then cohort B will have a lesson on Monday at 12:30. If your child is in person Thursday, Friday, then they have a lesson on the opposite day. Okay, so if you're in person, you don't go to this lesson, but if it's your at-home days, you go to the lesson, and that is part of keeping our students in the performing arts from having to do busy work or theory work, music theory, like giving them worksheets to fill out rhythms or stuff like that. In most of our content areas, there is a lot of read the chapter and then do the math problems, or read the chapter and write a short story about this. So the synchronous and asynchronous learning is a little less complex. For a performing arts class, as all of ours are, these kids want to be playing. They want to be spinning. They want to be making sound. So we are doing things for the next 3 weeks for sure, while we know we're in hybrid, that will support this. For GUARD, same thing. They are in person the next 3 Thursdays for their co-curricular side from 4 to 6. If they are not already on campus for cohort B, they will need to get here for 4 o'clock, okay? And then they can ride the activity bus home. If the activity bus leaves a little before that, which I don't know what the times are, maybe Glenna, if you can, put the time that the bus leaves campus for the activity bus, we'll make sure that your child can get on it for that guard time.
I have that at work, Mrs. Garcia, and I'll send it to you and Tom tomorrow.
Thank you. So we'll make sure if your child has to ride the bus to get home, the activity bus guard, that we make sure we finish in time for them to get there. If that's 5:45 or 6, it'll happen. And then Wednesday, rookies again. Guard rookies, you're coming in for this. Same time, you'll be with the wind players. And then these guys will all end at the same time. Guard has their other a section of their class. If they are in person on Mondays, then they go to Thursday 1 o'clock dance block with our guard coaches, and then vice versa. With marching band season pretty much being canceled for this year, the one thing that we have had an opportunity, the University of Arizona has hosted U of A Band Day for more than 70 years, 70 years. I don't even remember the exact thing. We are going to participate this year. I've been telling your students since before the 1st of October. I would love for you to register your child tonight, and Mr. Cervenka, if you're able to put that in the chat. Most of your students already have, and I did tell them prior to fall break, save the date. And in the email I've sent to you, I have said save the date, October 24th, virtual U of A Pride of Arizona Band Day will be from 1 to 3:30. They do need to register. The deadline is this week. So please get your child registered. We are counting it as a performance event. So this is part of that co-curricular. Your child will be graded that they participate. I know some kids have said, hey, it's my birthday, or hey, we usually do family things on Saturday. I understand that. In a normal school year, we would be sitting at the University of Arizona Stadium participating in this event. And I know we haven't had a lot of opportunities this year or demanded a lot of your children outside of the school day without opportunities for makeup. Your child does not want to miss this. Okay? Get them registered because, like I said, it is free, but the deadline is this week. And if it fills up, I can't change it. All right? So please, please, please register that event. In general, the other question about dancing out, all of our classes are not allowed to, are changing out, are not allowed to change out. There is no change out in PE, in ROTC, in any of this until further notice. While we are in hybrid, the locker rooms are not available for students for changing, only for using the restrooms. So kids should be wearing, I know the first day, Thursday, and the first day, Monday, your child wants to wear their coolest new gear. I get that. And that's part of the reason we won't do anything physical during the school day. As far as however they figure out how to get changed before the 4 o'clock time, I have confidence that that'll happen. Okay. But please plan that during the school day, we will not be changing out, but your child needs to wear clothes that are reasonably able to move in for guard class, the same as it will be for those kids in ROTC and PE. They are going to be sweating. They just won't be able to change out. Okay. So I hope that kind of answered that question. Orchestra parents, hopefully you're paying attention a little bit here. I do have things for November. We will have Mondays as our coveted day for blended concert band practices in our past, and we will continue with that in our future. As we prepare for a December concert, our plan is that we will have some Monday night practices outside of school time. And even though we don't know yet where we'll be in hybrid to in-person, I want you to save the dates. If we have to back out of something, we will do that as it gets closer. But I want us to plan for the best and then make changes as necessary. So winds and percussion, all band and percussion kids, young adults, we will practice outside of school on November 23rd and 30th, as far as whether it's going to be right after school or 6 to 8. I will let you know as we get closer, but keep those days available. Percussion, you will continue in November, every day but Veterans Day, and we have speaking with Commander Roberson this morning, we will not be performing at Veterans Day this year. Until the district has us back 5 days a week, we are not doing any community events. Okay, so just note that that came from a bigger source than myself, but until we are in person, we will not. And let's assume that November 11th, we've already canceled that one because it's just too soon for us to prepare. But aside from that, percussion, you will meet the other 3 Wednesdays, and notice the time is going to be a little longer for your evening. We will still, in November, until hybrid ends, we will continue with Dr. Cross for those lessons for percussion students. Also, there is some indoor percussion information here. This is open to more than just percussionists, but it is an audition process, and it will not be for anybody who wants it. We find you something to play. It does have to scale down a little for many different reasons outside of COVID as well. But these are seasons that are winter and getting ready to ramp up. Same with Guard, we just don't have that schedule yet. So in the meantime, Guard, Thursdays will continue 4 to 6 or until Activity Bus in November. Those 3. It will not be on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. That's why it stops with those 3. Also, while we continue hybrid, there will be dance requirements on either Monday at 1 for an hour or Thursday at 1 for an hour, depending which cohort you are, if we stay distance. I am planning to do, oops, I did it again. I am planning to do something for orchestra that I'm hoping to get started here in November through 21st Century. So orchestra parents, be prepared that we are planning to add something in as quickly as I can get something set up for our string students. Jazz band, Ryan Blake, who is assisting us as well. I mentioned him at the beginning. He's going to be helping us with jazz band and with marching on especially Wednesday nights when Thomas Cervenka is doing percussion. So those couple of times in October. The other thing I want us all to think about, and this is for everybody but Guard, everybody but flags. Auditions for regionals and all-state jazz, the deadline is coming up in November 9th. Your child has access to all of the music for that audition process. To say they want to audition, they need to turn in a $25 no later than November 9th so that I can get them registered. The way that they pay is they need to bring it to me. Turning it into the front office, it gets logged. I don't have access to those spreadsheets. They go pay tomorrow and never tell me. I won't register your child because I won't know that the payment has been submitted. It's just the way the program, the system works. So it's important that for regional and all-state jazz auditions, if your child is wanting to try out for something on their specific orchestra, percussion, or band instruments, that by November 9th, I get a check, or it can be cash. Don't bring your debit card. Check or cash by November 9th. They can bring it in on Thursday this week, and we can start the process. So the audition itself is not till the last weekend in January. We don't know if it's going to be virtual or in person yet. We will know before we go to Christmas break. And then the event, if they make it after the audition, the end of January, is the weekend before rodeo weekend. So it doesn't affect that rodeo time, but that will be a 2-day event of an honor of music festival. So we'll talk about that more in class, but if your child is excelling on their instrument, they should be wanting to do this audition. It is a great way to get some feedback about how they're doing and to see where they stack up against the other 28 schools in our region in Southern Arizona. And then please save the date for our Winter Arts Concert, Thursday, December 10th. Again, if everything goes normally from hybrid into in-person and everything else, we will have that date. If for some reason we can't, we will still find a way to pre-record it and then share it to you so you as a family person can see it. Is there questions about performing arts stuff for November? We do not need chaperones for the U of A day because it's all virtual. They'll do it from home, or we might try to set up some pockets of things that we're working on right now. Everything okay for this slide? I'm ready to pass it over here to some other people for a couple minutes. Thomas Cervenka, they've heard from me for a few minutes. Will you walk through a few things for our cut time? And I will stop presenting. And Thomas Cervenka is going to take a couple minutes to talk about that. And then we do still have a couple more slides, which include our boosters. And we'll be respectful and try to get you done as soon as possible. Mr. Cervenka.
Sorry, I was trying to do screen share and unmute at the same time. So yeah, I'm Thomas Cervenka. I'm the assistant for the marching band program, and I do a lot with saxophone, but mainly my role is visual and percussion. And we talked about a little bit about indoor percussion, and I will provide a lot of information to the students about that here in the coming weeks, because we're starting at the very beginning of November. So it's super cool stuff there. But let's switch gears to cut time real quick. And so the first place you want to go, and tell me if you can't see my screen. Cool, that means you can. On our homepage of the website, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see where it says register here for cut time. And the students are all already in cut time, and we have some parents that are in cut time. But if you have not registered for cut time, this is where you do it. It'll take you to this screen, and I'm going to switch to the tutorial. It'll show you student parent sign up in the upper right hand corner. And then you will type SAH under subscribing schools. It'll auto-populate Sahuarita instrumental music. And then you just continue to fill out the forms. Your position will be parent or guardian. Since all the students have their cut time profile set up, we just need the parents to type in their information. Then you will go to the student's name. It'll ask you for your email and phone number and your address, child first name and child last name. Please use proper casing. So capitalize the first letter and capitalize the last letter. If you don't, I just have to go through and individually edit everything. And if you do it correctly, it will link you to your child in cut time. Otherwise, I'll go and manually do that, which is fine. If you have 2 students, you only need to register once, and we will link both of the students to you. So if, Mrs. Sparks, for instance, she has Hugh and Jack. She typed in Jack's information, and I went in and automatically added Hugh, since I know that Hugh and Jack are siblings. After you do that, it will send you a confirmation, or it'll pop up a confirmation, and it'll send me an email saying Mrs. Sparks is registered for cut time. I will approve that, and then it'll send you another email to create your login information. This is where we've seen a little bit of discrepancies. We're still learning cut time as a new data management system, but as soon as you create your login, you will be able to log in and you will see something like this, where it'll show you all of your information. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. In cut time, what we plan on using this for going forward, from a student perspective, it's going to be a lot of inventory management and medical records and that kind of stuff. So it's all in one central space. The idea, especially now with COVID, is that we are being as paperless as possible. So if you've ever chaperoned a trip, you've seen that 2-inch thick stack of papers that Mrs. Garcia and I have to carry around with us at any given time in case something happens to the child. So this takes care of that, but also inventory management. And the main one, and the reason why we want all the parents to sign up, is this is the easiest way for us to sign up volunteers. So as we start adding events that need chaperones to the calendar, and as we start moving and shaking again, so to speak, like especially with winter arts coming up, where we need chaperones and truck drivers and equipment people, those events will be in the cut time calendar for you to go and register as a volunteer so we can expect you at those events. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that cut time does that we will slowly progress and incorporate it into our day-to-day. But the first part is getting all the parents registered so we have that data to work with. And Miss Varner has done a really good job of playing around there as well. And Mrs. Walton and all the other boosters, we're learning as we go. So bear with us a little bit. But the key is just to go to the website and register so we have that information to start building off of. And hopefully in the next few months, we can make this a norm and make everything easier for everyone. But yeah, that's basically my cut time spiel. If you have any questions about it, all your students should know my email very well by now. But Mrs. Garcia can forward me emails as well. Send me an email directly and I can troubleshoot issues as they come. But it's a pretty easy process. If you have registered 4 or 5 times, you'll start getting emails back saying declined because it creates duplicates in the system. But if you have an account and you don't know the username and login, I can walk you through that as well. But that was it. Register for cut time and buy a sweatshirt.
All right, I was just kind of keeping track of the chat. I did put our website in there, saritamusic.org. I know normally we spend a lot, we tell the kids, go to the website, get it at the website. Right now, the district wants us for the students side of stuff to do a lot of things through our Google Classroom. We'll slowly start working more things back into the website. But either way, Karina Varner has been amazing to build and maintain our website, which is an excellent resource for you for parent stuff. And then I added a few things as Mr. Cervenka was talking about our cut time program. When students get their locks for their lockers, we're going to be able to do that through cut time this week. With the ones that are using school-owned instruments, you should see the form that I use for it right now. You don't want to. Sorry, Karina, it's not very techy. But this is going to allow us to put that instrument directly in there. Same with the flags, same with uniforms, and with chaperoning, as he mentioned. So hopefully that's it on that. I have a couple more screens, and we do have some stuff from our boosters. So just to go back in a little bit from my presentation, and I'm going to put this back up there again on our slides. I have about 3 big slides left. Tax credits. As we get ready to move into the big tax credit time of year, meaning the end of the year, December coming forward, please consider anybody in the state of Arizona that you know that pays their taxes to Arizona, not to Wisconsin or Illinois or Indiana or Texas or wherever else, but when they file their taxes, it's to the state of Arizona. They are eligible to do a tax credit. We made a video earlier this year with Mr. Varner, and it's great, and it's down here, and it also stars their daughter helping out by spraying a uniform, which thank you, Glenna Campbell, for making sure all that ketchup and mustard came out of it. But please consider doing the tax credit. We do need new uniforms. And of course, when we get back to traveling, we'll be able to use it for travel and keeping the cost down, even if it's just day trips. Tax credits, if you work for Raytheon or someone you know works for Raytheon, if they do a tax credit, Raytheon has a matching grant program, which can also go straight into our program here at Sahuarita High School. Follow up with your HR department at Raytheon for more information about how the matching grant works. We don't work for Raytheon, we work for Sahuarita Unified, but by doing a tax credit to Sahuarita Unified and providing that receipt to the proper authorities at Raytheon, they match penny for penny, which is awesome. And of course, we're always looking for any type of cash donations. All checks should be made out to SUSD 30. If you want to do a cash donation to our program, we strongly suggest doing it directly to our music boosters. You can even earmark it for one of our programs to say, I want this to help pay for flags during Winter Guard, or I want this to help buy mallets for percussion, or we want to work toward buying new bags for the double basses in orchestra. whatever it might be. If someone wants to earmark specifically, our Boosters is a 501c3, and they are able to provide you papers for that through Shannon Hornaby, our treasurer. And at the same time, if you want to make that donation to our boost or to our district, make sure you put it in for instrumental music, and that will also be earmarked to Sahuarita High School instrumental music if you label it that way, and we can utilize it for things through our district accounts. Fundraising things, and I'm going to be turning it over to the boosters here in a second. Please consider helping us come up with fundraising ideas. In the past, we've done things like car washes, our butter braid, GoFundMe, percentage nights. All of those things are great, but we've been very limited in what we can do right now to raise funds for these uniforms we need to buy. So please, if you have ideas or you know other programs that have been doing things, in a minute, I'll tell you how you can get involved. We are on complete standstill, hold, timeout for any type of car washes. We are on hold, standstill for any type of butter braid pastries, which is like a magazine catalog ordering systems. We can potentially do our GoFundMe things, which we have done one every year for the past couple of years, and we want to. We can continue to do percentage nights at our local restaurants. Thank you for those who went to the most recent one at Mod. We have another one coming up here soon as well. So those things are all good ideas, but we need to be creative in this time. And your tax credit is a great way to help us fund those uniforms. And of course, fundraisers go to the good of all, and that is the link to go directly to the website with the district to pay a tax credit.
Real quick, Mrs. Garcia. Oh, Mrs. Cornerby answered that question. So awesome. And I want to talk a little, like 2 seconds on tax credits. Tax credits are the easiest way, especially this time of year. As we approach November and December, if anyone does a tax credit, they will get that money. It's a quick turnaround because they're filing their taxes at the beginning of next year. That said, it's also like it's a super easy thing, and I do it every year on my social media, just to all of my friends. Anyone who lives in Arizona, they don't have to live in Sahuarita or even live in Tucson to do a tax credit. They have to live in the state of Arizona. So grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, cousin, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, I don't care. Anyone that you know can do a tax credit for Sahuarita instrumental music, and it immensely helps us because that $200 a pop adds up a lot, and it helps us for things that we don't normally get to do. So that's my little tax credit spiel. And that video is really funny, so we can start sharing that video too.
Yes, Everett is probably the main one in it, but it's a good video, and I appreciate David Barner's foresight in comedy relief. So the next thing I pulled up on our slideshow is parent involvement. I'm going to give Kirsten Sparks, our booster president, a chance to talk a little bit about it, and then I don't know who all wants to speak as far as anything for. These are the people that are in charge of things. On our website, this is where we need you to go to consider volunteering. But Kirsten, if you want to speak for a minute or two about our programs, and ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done for the evening.
Hi, I'm Kirsten. We are excited to have you sign up for committees and to work with us. We have a great time. There are, even though it's going to be an odd year, there are going to be lots of opportunities to do some of the activities, and we know there's going to be new things that we'll be doing because it's an interesting year. So if there is something that you are interested in those volunteer opportunities that you enjoy doing or that you think you would be good at, we invite you to sign up and spend some time with your child, and with us, and have fun with us. Did you want me to speak in specific about anything else, Ms. Garcia?
I don't know. Does anybody have any specific questions? Or I don't know, and I'm mainly looking at Emily, Brenda, or Michelle. I don't know if any of them have anything they want to say about it. I did put, while you're thinking if you have something to say, I did put the direct link. Again, it takes you back to our amazing booster website that Karina Varner maintains for us, and that she put in here where you can click on each of those. What does each of those main levels cover? And I know Emily Allen, do you have anything that you want to add for the fundraising side besides join your committee? I'm just going in order of the committees. So if Emily does have anything to say, you can either put it in the chat or you can reach out to Emily. She is in charge of things that will have to do with our community fundraising, grant writing. If you know some grants that are out there, we want help finding them, and outreach and awareness in general. So things that have to do with fundraising. If you have ideas or you have a niche of people, I know someone works with Triple Play a lot. I'm hovering my mouse over that particular parent and does some fun events there. This might be an opportunity for our boosters to get involved. Mrs. Dahl, feel free to consider a committee to join. Yeah, I said that. Anything, Emily? Last chance? And you don't have to. I might have said it for you. Okay, Brenda Laura is in charge of our hospitality. And this one this year has had the most differences as far as like, I don't know if, and I'm going to jump over to this screen for sharing for a minute. Hopefully you're looking at the volunteer opportunities page. So Brenda Laura is the parent that's in charge of that. Tailgating stuff, which we're not doing because there's no football performances for our students, but feeding our bands and orchestras and events that will be coming up. Our spring banquet that's planning in April and happening in May. We need parents that want to say, I will help organize this and make sure it happens, because Brenda is one person and she's already been doing this for a year. She can help you, but she definitely needs people. Brenda, anything you want to add on your committee?
So I just wanted to encourage everybody to go ahead and volunteer. I think when we get together and feed the kids, it's actually a lot of fun. And I think as parents, we have a lot of fun. So definitely encourage you to join my group, and I'm a lot of fun. So, and then go ahead and fill out that volunteer paperwork, because it's easier to have it done than scrambling at the last minute trying to get approved to be a volunteer. So I encourage you to go ahead and get that filled out now. And if anybody is interested in signing up for driving one of the vehicles, that takes a little bit of time as well. So go ahead and let's get that process started as well. So you just need to let me or Ms. Garcia know that you're interested in driving a vehicle.
Yeah, we actually have Ms. Walton that's going to be in charge of that committee. So thank you for the hospitality side. And yes, Brenda, you are wonderfully fun. And I always enjoy those pecans and things. Brenda works at the pecan company, and yes, she makes it really fun. Last year when we hosted our marching band show, she helped make sure we got donations from the pecan store, little bags of nuts for each of our judges and our directors. She was able to get our pecan store to also donate a pallet of waters, and we still have some waters left over. So thank you. It's amazing how some of us may go, I don't know how to be involved or what I can do, but your businesses might be something that wants to. Before we jump to Michelle's vice presidency, yes, Charity, I see if you had filled out the volunteer form in the past and it was for Sahuarita High School, you're fine. Here's an example. All of us, many of us have more than one child. I have a child at Wrightson Ridge, and I now have a child at Sahuarita High School in our band. If I wasn't the teacher and I wanted to volunteer, and so far my kids had only been at Wrightson Ridge, I would need to fill the form out again for Sahuarita High School. So you're already in the district system, but you need to do it for each site that you wish to be volunteering at. But if your child, like Ellie, was a freshman last year at Sahuarita High School, you're good to go this year as a sophomore at Sahuarita High School. Okay, So you need to do it for each site you want to be at. And then it does get submitted to John Knoip, our principal. And then from there, it heads to district office for the approvals from that side. As long as you are the child's parent, it tends to move pretty fast. If you're not the child's parent or guardian, then there is a few extra steps, and we can talk individually if you have questions about that. But yes, Charity, you are good to go since Ellie is now a sophomore, no problem. Our third main area of booster help needed is Michelle Walton's vice presidency position. And in there, it talks about, this is the one that has the most moving parts of people, and I appreciate her taking it on this year. Uniform fittings, all of our seniors need to get fitted for uniforms because all of them are going to get their picture taken for their banners. Orchestra parents, we are still going to do that for the orchestra students this year, which was a new idea, thank you. And flag seniors as well, we are going to do that for them. So the band students wear a set uniform for this picture. Orchestra and flags we'll talk later, but we do need some parents that are going to come in and help set up. And I know Kirsten and Michelle were already planning on that, but we have about 8 or 10 kids we need to get fitted so that they can do their senior pictures. So this is the committee to get involved with. This is also, as Brenda mentioned, and I know her husband went through it, the truck and trailer driving. No one has to do something like that, but I completely understand. I am also certified or stamp approved by our school district to drive our big trailer with the district truck. It is a little bit of a process. It does take time to get scheduled and then to actually go through the driving thing the day of. They only do them during the school day. I know Glenn is familiar with this as well because it's her department, transportation, that does those. But if you think you will be wanting to help drive things around, whether it's drive the truck and trailer for a marching band event in the future, or an indoor percussion event this year, or just driving it to the auditorium for our concerts, or down for an event later this year, as we do get some stuff in a community event, do it now. Once you've gone through the training, you're good to go for a very long period of time, but they will not do a rush order. They'll just tell us, sorry, so sad. So if you're comfortable with that and you think you'll be someone who's going to be volunteering, as long as you have a driver's license, then we can get you going on that. And yes, we haul a lot of equipment. And I know I'm using it tomorrow for percussion parents. We are picking up those mallet instruments tomorrow.
Haley, help me really quick.
So yes,
I need
Michelle.
to get back. Well, hold on. All right, hold on. How do I get back? Return your call. Hold on. How do I?
We can hear you even if it's your camera turned off.
Okay, here's me. Sorry. This is Michelle Walton. I'm a little slow on this electronic stuff. My daughter had to come save me. Anyways, please volunteer. I will make it really fun. I will make sure I know your favorite beverage and treat and cookie, and you can come and join the fun. And we'll have a good time. I have 2 kids, Jacob and Haley. They're in jazz band, and I'd love to get to meet each of you. So please try to sign up so I can get to know you better.
I had to put that in, and she finished talking before I could say anything. If you have not had Michelle's cinnamon rolls or pumpkin muffins, to die for. But anyway, we do need people, whether it's in all you're saying when you sign up for those areas. Truck and trailer will help track you to get you set up for a driving training so that you're able to. If you are already like Mr. Valencia or Mr. Sparks or a couple other parents, I don't want to forget anybody's name in here. If you're already gone through the training, you're good to go to continue. We have a book of all those people in there. If you're like, I might want to help at some point in time, then, and you're comfortable driving a truck and trailer, like I guess I am. Thomas has rode with me a few times driving the truck and trailer. You do have to do a backing up thing. You do forward things and make sure you can do it so that we can safely transport things. It's a good course. It's well run by our district transportation. Sign up on that committee. You can sign up on multiple committees. Uniforms, it's not just seamstress stuff. It's it's coming in and just helping make sure that, hey, that one fits you, or, ooh, that's a little tight, let's go to the next size. And we have a matrix of how to look at the uniforms for sizing them and putting them together so children look good. So it's not just, hey, I'm going to take them home and sew them or iron them. It's all different levels. And it can be a dad or a mom or a grandma that wants to do those areas. It's totally fine. And then I did ask that we put on there volunteering for other classroom help, that it's not necessarily during school time. So if you're like, hey, I'm good with inventory stuff. Now that we have cut time, I am looking for people that want to come in and volunteer. I have a laptop to use to go into our library uniform room and just input stuff now that we have cut time. So if you're good with data entry and you're like, hey, I'll come in and just start getting all those documents put into cut time, you pick your own hours. And as long as it's not like 10 o'clock at night, I would love to have you. Okay, so any questions about that?
I just want to add real quick that I appreciate all the boosters that the vice presidents that spoke on their roles. It's super fun, and especially whenever we're leaving the band room, going somewhere, it's just such a surreal experience for the kids. And I will tell you, from an equipment standpoint, our kids are the workhorses. They are the ones that are moving things as much as possible, but parents help too, but they are working so hard. And it's just really cool to see when parents show up and help, and they get the chance to kind of focus on their job at hand. And it's just, anyone who's traveled with us, it's just a really fun time all around. So if you don't know where you might want to fit in, still offer to help. We will find a job for you, I promise. And we just have such great parent support. So that was it. I'll get off my soapbox.
Yes, and there's a spot that says, just put me where needed, and we'll probably reach out to you. So last page, so that you have this, and then I am done for our night. Communication is important. Obviously, as you trust us with your child, and you trust us with your child in these difficult times as we're moving through just trying to figure out how to safely return to teaching them in person. Our website is a great resource. Karina Varner does a great job updating things. Anytime I send a parent email, she updates it onto the website as well. If you are not receiving those parent emails, please send me an email and say, I am so-and-so's parent. I've not been receiving emails from you. I've sent about one every 3 weeks. It's not been weekly like we do in normal crazy marching band years, but I've sent multiple ones since the school year has started, and which was part of how we alerted you. If the only way you found out that we had this meeting tonight was through Remind because you got the text, then send me an email and just say, hey, I'm so-and-so's parent on this class. Can you please add me to the email list? My email is right here, cgarcia@sahuarita.net. Of course, joining Remind, your child has all of that on their Google Classrooms, and it is on the website so that you can be able to get that. Phone number is there. I do answer the phone. I don't check the phone as frequently as the email or the Remind, but it is there. And then, of course, we have a Facebook page, and that's where we put out a lot of really cool stuff too. So I know our music boosters are going to be sticking around for any other topics or things that we need to answer for you, or that I can answer for you. And percussion parents, just a reminder that tomorrow I'm bringing the truck and trailer around to pick things up. If you are not Rancho, and I'm putting this in the, meaning you don't live in Rancho, I am changing your times. We're going to be picking up between 1 and 2 p.m. your mallet instrument. If you are Rancho, it will be the same time, 2 to 3 p.m. Okay, and I've asked the students to make sure they are bringing their instrument outside. So when we pull up, we're literally picking it up, securing it into the truck, and driving off. Okay, so if you are going to need help getting it out, if you text me ahead of time, like tonight or tomorrow when I send that communication, then I will try to have, I have our 3 boys are following us around again, and I believe Everett is as well, I can send someone ahead in their personal vehicle to meet you. They'll wear a mask and they'll help you get it out of your house, so that when I pull up with the truck, we're literally opening the back, moving it in, securing it, and continuing on in order to make the best use of all of our time. So if you are a percussion parent, let me know if you have questions about that. But yes, I know that Everett, Tristan, Elijah, and Matthew, I believe, are the workforce tomorrow. And Mr. Cervanka is helping, especially on the second half of it, and getting them all back to the right site so that the middle school and high school has them for in-person learning. Yeah, the truck training takes a little bit of time. So if you're interested, let us know. Aside from that, I want to be respectful of your time. I know our music boosters are sticking around. If you have other questions, let me know. But thank you for making me part of your time this evening, and feel free to communicate with me however I can to make it easy for you. I am going to stop the recording. And have a good night.